All right, so we are now into our next model of the atom, and we're now on page number 53 of our notes book of J.J. Thompson's model of the atom. So J.J. Thompson was an English physicist who knew all matter is neutral and that opposite charges attract and like charges repel. Right, so opposite and like charges. So think back to what you know about charges. So we have positive charges and negative charges. So let me try to get my pen going here. Right, so by positive charges and negative charges attract each other and like charges repel, like two positives repel and two negatives repel. So he discovered that the electron, right? So the electron is a negatively charged particle. So I'm going to do E minus, this is a little symbol for shorthand for an electron is a negatively charged particle. And so he found this while performing experiments that involved passing an electric current through gases at low pressure using something called a cathode ray tube. Really, really old television sets are made up of cathode ray tubes. So what you need to know, Thompson discovered the electron, and the experiment he used was the cathode ray tube. So with the cathode ray tube, here we have gas in here, we have an electrical field going through, and he theorized because a positively charged metal plate will attract a cathode ray and a negatively charged plate repels it, he hypothesized that a cathode ray is a stream of tiny negative particles moving at a high speed, right? Because if it's attracted to a positive, then it has to be a negative charge. If it's repelled by a negative, that means it has to be a negative charge. So he concluded that all electrons must be part of the atoms of all elements and that they have a negative charge. So this is the example of the cathode ray tube where we can see here, we have the ray of cathode rays and it's getting pulled up here towards the positive charge. So then we know that that is a negatively charged particle. So then we get into the Plum pudding model of the atom. So this model states that electrons are stuck into a lump of positive charge similar to raisins or chocolate chips stuck in a dough. Remember, this is England, right? So a pudding in England is not what we think of a pudding. A pudding in England is more like a cake or like a raisin bread, right? So this model has these negatively charged raisins or chocolate chips stuck inside the positively charged dough and evenly distributed throughout the whole thing. So here we have our positively charged dough, and here we have those negatively charged electrons embedded throughout, and there's an equal number of positives and negatives, making the whole thing what we say electrically neutral, equal positive charge and equal negative charge. And so that wraps up our Thompson plum pudding model of the atom and the discovery of the electron. In our next set of notes, we will talk about the gold foil experiment and the Rutherford model of the atom.